Humanitz. Does this early access offer something new to the zombie genre, or is it overshadowed by other games in this space? Hey folks, I'm Salmon, and welcome to the pond. Humanitz is an isometric open-world survival game set in a world devastated by a zombie outbreak. As one of the few remaining human survivors, you'll scavenge, build and fight your way through this hostile environment to stay alive. What sets Humanitz apart from other top-down survival games is its 3D approach. While I'll try not to constantly compare it to Project Zomboid until the end, it was hard to not have it in mind while playing through the game. Okay, so upon starting up the game you'll be presented with three main modes: online PvP, scenario mode, and then the single player and co-op experience. Online PvP throws you into a server where you'll face off against both zombies and other players. But when I checked this, there was only a few servers with a couple of players in each. I thought this wasn't worth my time for the sake of bumping into one or two players, so I moved on. Scenario mode is a recent addition, placing you in a smaller area where you must fend off waves of zombies, while scavenging for resources to fortify your position to survive as long as possible. Finally, there's the single player and co-op mode, the core experience of the game, where I spent most of my time. Jumping into single player, I was greeted with a character creation screen. This offered a basic selection of customizable options, from tops and trousers and a few hairstyles. You can select a background though, with a selection of professions to choose from, giving you stat bonuses in your chosen field, which was nice to see. After character creation, the game prompts you to dive into the tutorial to familiarise yourself with the game's mechanics, and I was pleasantly surprised on how thorough this was. It covers the basics of looting and combat before delving into the more complex systems like vehicle operation, resource gathering, crafting and building. While Humanitz's vehicle mechanics aren't as intricate as those in Project Zomboid, they offer a simple yet effective system, with just 4 parts required to maintain and operate a vehicle, along with the need for fuel that can be siphoned from other vehicles in a pinch. However, the driving experience leaves something to be desired. Although functional, it often feels stiff and lacks the realism one might expect. Additionally, the lack of visible damage to the vehicles after crashes can break immersion, making them feel like more of an afterthought than an integral part of the game. The tutorial also covers other systems such as reinforcing windows and lockpicking. Crafting and building in Humanitz are particularly well executed and user-friendly. Whether crafting items or constructing buildings and workbenches, the process is intuitive. Simply select your desired blueprint, then gather the necessary resources and proceed to place and complete the blueprint. This works well with the UI in the game. The inventory screen is a layout we've seen in many other games like DayZ, which is a lot more accessible and easier to read at first glance than many other drop-down windows in other games. So with all that crafting knowledge and training, I was ready and excited to fend for myself in single player. I picked the starter location with some supplies and basic tools needed for my adventure and set off into the wild. After some time exploring and scavenging, I managed to get some decent supplies, getting a new vehicle and a couple of weapons. Along my way I started noticing little details that I appreciated, like the character removing his bag when entering the inventory screen, and animations for when using items like drinking and eating. Things were looking promising. I then unexpectedly encountered a group of ruthless AI bandits, eager to relieve me of my hard-earned loot, which naturally resulted in a firefight, as I fought to defend my possessions against the ruthless assailants. Firearms in Humanitz deliver a satisfying experience, with precise handling and gratifying impact of landing headshots that swiftly dispatch enemies. The AI bandits pose a formidable challenge and will push your position, testing your nerve and forcing you into flight or fight. However, there are some inconsistencies in weapon details. For instance, the pistols lack visible ejected magazines upon reloading, but the rifles do display ejected casings after each shot. Although this doesn't affect combat, it is a noticeable aspect worth mentioning. After I dispatched the bandits, I continued my journey to kill more undead. The melee combat is a similar story for the most part. It feels great when getting an instant kill from a headshot, or using the finisher move on fallen zombies, and weapons do have durability that you need to keep an eye on. although some weapons' durability may need rebalance, as some can last a little too long. There is a variation to the zombies too, with some being more aggressive and faster than your standard shuffler types, forcing cautious retreats while attempting to land decisive blows. However, I encountered frustrations with melee attacks failing to register, despite previous successful strikes at similar distances. Whether this is a bug or a background stat that generates missed attacks, I'm unsure, but believe it is the former. This did lead to moments of frustration when taking damage due to these missed attacks. On the topic of taking damage, there are 4 main stats you need to keep an eye on in Humanitz. You have thirst and hunger, so make sure you eat and drink regularly. Although my time with the game, I noticed that food doesn't spoil, which feels like a missed opportunity to introduce a refrigeration system and enhance that survival element. Stamina is straightforward enough, you can't run forever, so managing your character's energy levels is important for sustained activity. However, the most crucial stat is health, measured on a scale of 100. Unfortunately, it is merely a numerical representation without any specific injuries, such as scratches or broken bones, or any injury effect, such as bleeding. The absence of any complex injury and healing mechanics does harm the survival aspect of the game. While there are various healing items like medkits, bandages and painkillers, they merely offer different levels of healing. Introducing an injury system would greatly enhance the gameplay experience, adding urgency and importance to the search for specific medical supplies throughout the world. As you adapt to the challenges of survival in the world of Humanitz, you'll earn experience points and progress through levels. With each level gained, you can invest points into various skills available in the Skills tab. These skills encompass a range of abilities, increasing your carrying capacity, improving melee damage, or reducing resource requirements for building and crafting. While the skill system may not be exceptionally deep, it's straightforward and functional. It operates similarly to those found in many other games, allowing players to enhance their character's abilities to suit their playstyle. Upon death and respawning, players will retain their previously unlocked skills. So as I pressed on with my journey, exploring towns and cities teeming with potential discoveries, I found myself gradually losing enthusiasm after about 4 or 5 hours of gameplay, as the game's shortcomings became increasingly apparent, sapping my motivation to continue. Admittedly, if I was playing solely for my own enjoyment, I might have called it quits at that point. But I'm here to review the game, so I was determined to persevere and at least establish my humble base. So what caused my enthusiasm to wane? Well, in a survival game, looting plays a pivotal role. There's certainly a thrill in scavenging and acquiring much needed items, reveling in the satisfaction of finding that elusive piece of gear. However, in Humanitz, looting felt oddly restrictive. Spotting a zombie wielding a sizable backpack, I eagerly anticipated the prospect of snagging it for myself, only to be taken aback by an unexpected limitation. In Humanitz, not every corpse is lootable, and even if a zombie appears to be carrying a backpack and is lootable, there's no guarantee that that item is accessible, opposed to other games like Project Zomboid, where players enjoy an extensive interaction with everything in the environment. Humanitz left me feeling confined and disappointed. Additionally, I found myself grappling with the rotational camera, a source of considerable frustration. Default keys are bound to Q and E, making it cumbersome to manoeuvre, particularly in tense situations. Although I managed to mitigate this by reassigning the camera controls to the middle mouse button, but I still found myself having to rotate the camera more than usual, navigating through buildings due to the opaque walls obstructing my view. Also, nearby tall buildings do not become transparent either, completely blocking your view of the character, which can lead to some frustrating moments. The interiors of buildings suffer from a lack of variety, with many featuring identical furniture pieces and layouts. Enhancements to the interiors, such as more variety in floor and wall decorations, and just generally more household furniture, would inject a much needed character and ambience into these spaces, making them feel like they were more lived in at some point. I also encountered a particular issue where grass protrudes through the floor of certain buildings. While I'm uncertain whether this is an intentional design choice to simulate vegetation growth within structures, or just straightforward graphical assets clipping, which I believe is more likely, it certainly appears odd and may be irritating to some, particularly for those who are sensitive to such issues. Furthermore, many buildings have their upper floors barricaded by rubble, limiting their access to potential multi-storey bases. While a recent update did introduce multi-storey buildings to certain areas of the map, finding such locations requires thorough exploration. Hopefully in time, with more updates, this can be extended to further buildings in the world. While these specific issues didn't entirely diminish my enthusiasm for the game, they did contribute to my overall realisation of the game's current limitations and what the game has to offer at this point in early access. At times I observed moments of barrenness, particularly in areas with notable absence of zombies. Additionally, I encountered frustration when zombies respawned in areas I'd previously cleared, disrupting my desire to methodically mark, explored and cleared areas on the map to start building my base. Thankfully, Humanitz offers a server setting menu right from the start, a crucial tool for players to fine-tune their gaming experience. It's essential to revisit this menu as you play, as it grants the flexibility to make adjustments on the fly. When I went back to these settings, I opted to disable zombie respawns entirely, which resolved my concerns from earlier. This customization feature proved invaluable, offering a plethora of options to tweak, including AI amount multipliers, loot settings and a lot more. This level of control allowed me to tailor the game to my liking, enhancing my overall enjoyment of the game and how it plays. So with these adjusted settings in place, I resumed my efforts to clear out zombies and establish my base. The building mechanics in Humanitz represent one of its standout features, offering a user-friendly free-play system that allows for the creation of custom structures without the constraints of grid snapping. While the wall placement can be finicky at times, the available structural pieces, ranging from walls, gates to prefabs in wood and metal, can provide ample flexibility for base construction. Moreover, the game offers a diverse selection of furnishings, including workbenches, cooking stoves and furnaces, as well as the option to install generators for powering light bulbs to brighten up your creations. While I opted for a modest base during my playthrough, possibilities for expansive, intricate constructions are certainly enticing, offering players the opportunity to create huge metal structures with parking garages and farmland to grow crops, or to reinforce an existing building to save on resources to spend on defending your home. In terms of graphics, Humanitz can exhibit moments of visual appeal and is only enhanced by the lighting effects at night with torches and fires. Although upon closer inspection, some textures can seem lacking in detail and the torchlight appears to be coming from your face. As previously mentioned, the game would benefit from a broad array of textures and materials to introduce greater diversity and prevent instances of repetitive visuals, especially with building interiors. And there are some occasional clipping issues, such as grass through floor buildings. Regarding audio, sounds of weapons, construction and vehicles are well executed and serve their intended purpose effectively. While none of the audio elements stand out as exceptional, they contribute to the game's atmosphere adequately. However, the background music may become repetitive over time, prompting some players to disable it for a more personalised experience. Humanitz runs smoothly and maintains stability throughout gameplay sessions, with no crashes or noticeable stuttering. Despite encountering a few minor bugs such as bouncing off zombies when attempting to run them over with a vehicle, and an occasional issue with attacks not registering on zombies, the overall experience remained largely bug-free. While it's worth noting my experience was pretty smooth, some players have reported encountering additional bugs in the Steam comments section. Running the game at 1440p, I consistently achieved frame rates ranging from 90 frames to 110, and while at 1080p, performance exceeded 120 frames. For reference, I'm playing with a RTX 3080 Ti paired with a Ryzen 9 5950X. Control responsiveness is commendable, particularly when using a keyboard and mouse, although controller support is available. However, aiming with a controller presents challenges, as the crosshair extends to the edge of the screen when the analog stick is pushed fully, making precise aiming difficult. This means you have to feather the analog stick halfway to get the crosshair mid-screen and on your target, which is finicky and time-consuming. This issue may need addressing to make controller gameplay a more viable option. As a result, I opted for keyboard and mouse setup to ensure full control and accuracy, especially during tense moments that need quick and precise actions. Currently, the endgame and gameplay loop in Humanitz revolves around survival, looting, building and exploration. Players can establish a base and progressively upgrade it, expanding and fortifying as they explore the map. Alternatively, they can focus on clearing out zombies and bandits to make the world safer. With diverse environments including cities, towns and radiation zones, there's plenty to explore and conquer. A recent addition to the game is a mission to activate a radio tower. Once activated, the tower enables airdrops throughout the map. This mission can serve as an endgame task or provide an additional objectives while players pursue their own goals. Ultimately, the end goal in Humanitz is left entirely to the player's discretion, offering flexibility and freedom in how they shape their gameplay experience. So to sum up, while this review may have sounded somewhat negative, it's important to recognise that Humanitz does have its strengths and isn't a bad game. However, due to the lack of originality, it struggles to carve out its own identity and often finds itself compared unfavourably to Project Zomboid, as many aspects of the game fall short and lack depth in comparison. That being said, Humanitz does excel in some areas. The movement and shooting mechanics are noticeably strong, surpassing those of Project Zomboid. The building system is robust and offers potential for expansion. Additionally, the presence of AI bandits adds an element of danger and excitement to the gameplay, and the inclusion of wild animals has a lot of potential here and should expand further into the hunting aspect of the game. The game's regular updates are promising, and it will be interesting to see how it evolves in the future. I believe implementing the Steam Workshop support could also greatly enhance the game by allowing the modding community to contribute additional content and features. While Humanitz has not yet reached its heights of inspiration, it has the potential to improve and grow into a more compelling experience with continued development and community involvement. So if you're transitioning from Project Zomboid and looking for a similar experience, it's essential to manage your expectations. Humanitz does not offer the same level of depth and may leave you slightly underwhelmed, but it is worth keeping your eye on in the future. On the other hand, if you find Project Zomboid too intricate, or you simply prefer a more action-orientated and casual gameplay experience, then Humanitz might be right up your alley. It provides a smoother entry point for those looking for a more straightforward survival adventure. Additionally, playing co-op with a friend can significantly enhance your experience, adding another layer of enjoyment and camaraderie to the gameplay. At the time of review, Humanitz is on Steam for £16.75 and Greenmangaming is currently offering it at £13.40. If you're not already familiar with Greenmangaming, it's a great website where you can purchase games for PC and consoles, serving as an official retailer, offering regular sales on old and new games. Check them out through the link in the description below. Alright folks, that wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me till the end. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the pond. Also, comment down below, let me know what you liked and what you didn't like about the video, and if you've played Humanitz, comment and let me know what you think of the game. I'm still finding my feet and trying new things and seeing what works best, so any feedback would be much appreciated. One last thing, if you found yourself enjoying any of the music featured in this video, I highly recommend checking out Leva, aka Lemon Music Studio, on Spotify or his YouTube channel. He's an incredibly talented musician and composer who specialises in several guitar genres. You can find the link also down below in the description. Thanks again guys for watching, I'll catch you in the next one.